Right Network. Mobilizing, countering the left, energizing the right. New Right Network, home of the New Right movement.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to New Right Network tonight. Your host, Brian Smith and
Carrie Smith,
giving you all the breaking news of the day, wrapping it all up, making sense of it all, exposing the fake news and the fake news media that's out there. This is the New Right Network tonight. We are adding to New Right Network. We've got a lot of new folks coming on board, a lot of new writers. It's a very exciting time. Had a really productive meeting with the crew this afternoon. A lot of the youth outreach, if you will, on college campuses. We'll be showcasing them here on our show as well when they do the things like the man on the street, if you will, or who's the 16th president, and they go around and start asking all the college students to answer difficult questions that are easy
questions. They're difficult for them. At least that's what we've seen historically.
Right. So this will be a lot of fun, folks. But anyways, if you want to help support New Right Network, help support new news media, this is commercial free, folks. We do all this on our own time, and our Patreons, thank you very, very much. You have been a huge support for us to be able to.
We wouldn't be able to do it without you.
No, the growth of the show, the videos, everything that we do is because of you guys. Thank you very much. Jump on over to our new website, smith.tv, new and improved. But I'm not sure if the shop is open yet, but keep checking in. We got a lot of new great things that are coming up. Thank you so much, Vessi at Vessi Tweets.
I think it's at Vessi Tweets. Yeah.
Vessi Tweets and at Shadowed Spook.
Okay. Did Lotus have something to do with?
Lotus is Shadowed Spook.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha. I think, right?
I think so. Yep.
I hope so.
I get them mixed up.
I know. Anyways. Oh, so breaking news of the day. We were doing show prep. Carrie texted, I'm texting. Everybody's phones just blew up. As you know, and we'll talk about this, the Jussie Smollett thing. We're also going to talk about day 2 victory lap. A lot of great things happening in America first. We'll talk about that as well. And the Democrats are definitely still on display with their lunacy and their ridiculousness. But the breaking news.
Great news for today again has been thwarted by a Jussie Smollett news. Apparently, all of the charges have been dropped. For those of you who have been living under a rock, he has been originally charged for hiring people to beat him up on a cold bad weather morning in Chicago. Yeah. It was very, very cold. It was like 20 below zero or something like that.
It was sub-freezing temperatures. Yeah.
He was on his way to Subway and claimed to have been beat up by white people who screamed at him, "This is MAGA country."
And they had MAGA hats on. and the irony of all of this is that they did it with their backs to the camera. The camera didn't catch it.
Well,
they were faced the wrong way.
Yeah, the stories that I've heard over the weeks about it was that it's actually amazing that none of this was caught on camera, because there was cameras everywhere, and they just happened to, by bad luck or maybe by design, caught a spot where they had a lot of trouble trying to find the perpetrators. They were checking all these cameras and all this kind of stuff. And they wrapped a noose around his neck, which, as a black man and as a gay man, obviously, this would be a major hate crime, right?
Sure.
And apparently the noose, people are saying, why would you leave the noose on all the way to the hospital? But come on, if you got beat up and you were just defending yourself and there was two guys on you and you're just trying to fight them off and they wrapped a noose around you and you're just laying there beat up and going to the hospital, it's very possible that whatever is on you, whatever happened to you, apparently he had bleach poured on him and all this kind of stuff. Right off the bat, people were very skeptical because on a night that is such bad weather, such cold weather.
He's wealthy enough to call for the food delivery service in Chicago. 24/7 in Chicago, you can have food delivered to you anywhere in the city of Chicago.
Especially with weather like that. You would think that he would wait to pull this hoax on a night when the weather was a little bit nicer, but he went ahead with it. Maybe it was something that was planned out for a long time and the bad weather was not going to stop him, and got beat up by his friends who are not white. And apparently, this is kind of strange. They were wearing red hats, but they didn't say "Make America Great Again." So it was almost like it was very hastily thrown together. Like, we need the red hats. Can we get "Make America Great Again" hats? And at the last second, they were like, well, I got these red hats. And they're like, all right, that's good enough. That's good enough.
Ain't got time for the shipping and handling.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
They were videotaped at a hardware store, the two brothers that actually attacked him, purchasing rope and bleach.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is the evidence that was against the conspiracy. And so now, after all this time, apparently Jussie Smollett was scheduled to see a judge in mid-April sometime.
Right.
So why charges dropped now?
But yesterday, the biggest bombshell to the Democrat narrative, and you're saying that this is what it is, and you're probably right.
It used to be that this kind of cynicism would be saw as an Alex Jones type of, oh, look at these conspiracy theorists. But sometimes the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. I could think it's Occam's razor or
Occam's razor.
Occam's razor. Sometimes you just have to look at it and say, well, it is what it is. This could have been handled in court. The charges could have been dropped at court. It could have been asked by the defense attorneys to have this dropped. And at any time, leading all the way up until the court proceedings could be dropped, or charges could be dropped by the prosecutor, which is what happened in this case.
And they could have done it on this Friday, this coming Friday, the last Friday in the month of March. Yes, the last Friday in the month of March, just before April. Mm-hmm. You could have dumped this on Friday afternoon,
and they would have. They had to have known. People think. Do you got to connect the dots with what we call here at Smith TV a thought experiment. We've been doing this for a long time, and it helps you to get to the truth when maybe you don't have the hard evidence in front of you, but the circumstantial evidence is so freaking obvious, right? So do the thought experiment. Wouldn't you want a decision that you know was going to cause massive outrage across the entire nation, let alone
ripple effect,
let alone the police union in Chicago, because they are actually very upset, very, very upset, because they feel like their police officers who've done so much work have been thrown under the bus here, and so rightfully so, they're like, hey! So wouldn't you think that they would say, you know what, if we're going to do this, we are going to pull the trigger on this. We better do it at like 5:30 on Friday somehow and bury it somehow. No, early Tuesday morning before the Rush Limbaugh show.
What did you say, 11:30?
11:30. 11:29 is when it came out.
And so Rush comes on at noon.
And it was nonstop. His entire opening monologue had been replaced with, well, this Jussie Smollett thing, and just,
and we had our New Right Network article chat meeting at noon.
Yeah,
and that's
all they talked about.
Well, I told him, I said, who's picking this article up? Who's picking it up? And everybody's like, oh, I got this, I got that. Everybody's scrambling to find someone to write the article. And
guys,
it's insane.
It's not cynicism. The timing on this news, the decision to do something so controversial than to take somebody who is so obviously guilty and just drop the charges. And they didn't even try very hard to make it believable, because as we were talking right before the show started airing, you would think that somebody would say, well, what about the $10,000?
Yeah, Jussie, you need to go get your money back.
Yes, if you're an innocent person and you put up big money like that for bond or fees or whatever it might be, you are absolutely going to ask for that money back. And do not think for a second that Jussie Smollett, being a famous actor, is going to say, $10,000, that's no big deal. Remember, it was said that the reason he did this alleged crime upon himself, that allegedly,
correction, Mr.
that he's not getting paid enough.
When you are arrested, you go to jail, you get a phone call and you call bail bondsman. They come up and they meet with you, and the judge sets your bond. They tell you, judge sets your bond at $10,000. The bail bondsman will say, okay, you're not flight risk. You're not this. We're going to take a chance. You give me $1,000 and I'll tell the judge, I promise you, he'll be here on my word, or Your Honor, will give you the 10 grand. And hence the movies that Midnight Run, where they go hunting, that bail bondsman goes hunting down the criminal for the money.
That's like a 35-year-old movie, so you might want to.
Great movie. Oh, yeah. Not movie, for the kids.
It's about a guy who skips bail on big money. And as a, Dog the Bounty Hunter is a good example. He makes his entire career chasing down people who've skipped bail, because the bail bondsman is now responsible for the total amount. And so he hires bounty hunters for a price to go get these people, bring them back, bring them to jail so that the bail bondsman can get all his money back. And Midnight Run, the plot with Robert De Niro, who we all despise these days, but I enjoy his acting. Just don't enjoy the person himself.
Right.
But that's what the plot of that movie was. Yeah, right here. Cook County prosecutors agreed to drop the charges against Smollett at an unscheduled hearing in the case Tuesday morning. Smollett will forfeit the $10,000 bail he posted after his arrest. So and everybody's literally, and here we go. Homestead Smollett volunteered to forfeit the $10,000 bail in the case. So why would Smollett volunteer? He's clearly extremely grateful and thankful that he's not being prosecuted in a case on charges that he's also claiming to be 100% innocent of. Now, you look at somebody like a Donald Trump, who's been accused of colluding with Russia to the point where the penalty for that would be, at minimum, impeachment from office, at minimum. So obviously those were serious charges. His reaction is a lot more realistic compared to what you and I mean, you know at home how you would feel if you're falsely accused of something. You're going to be basically kicking and screaming. That's how it works. You kick and scream like, I am innocent of these charges. You freak out and you're really upset. You're angry. Smollett is clearly extremely ecstatic and extremely relieved and very thankful to the government of Chicago for the results here, to the point where he is rewarding them by letting them keep the $10,000. I think it's a travesty, which is why I am hereby announcing on Smith TV that we start a GoFundMe for Jussie Smollett to basically exact justice on a system that has clearly wronged him, because not only has it defamed him as a person, but has cost him a lot of money. And we know that he can't afford it because he's only making $65,000 a show.
Right.
And so $10,000, I mean, he can afford it. It's just, it's going to hurt.
It's going to take two shows. It
shouldn't be a punishment to an innocent person.
No,
for
not
being
at all.
accused. I mean, the guy got beat up. And after adding insult to injury, he's being charged with these crimes, and his good name is being dragged through the mud, and they're charging him $10,000. And this innocent man is such a good person. He's like, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen of the Chicago Police Department, I know that you thought that I was totally guilty of this. And I know you guys worked really hard to try to prove that I was guilty of this. But I'm going to let bygones be bygones, and I'm going to go further. I'm going to show my appreciation for your hard work in destroying my good name by letting you keep the $10,000 that I was required to put up to gain my freedom from charges that I am 100% innocent of. I'll tell you what, this guy is a saint.
And you know what I'm thinking right now? The first time when he got beat up, that was a hate crime.
Yeah.
This is a hate crime. He's got 2 hate crimes against him.
Because you know a white person that was guilty of all of this, or that was innocent of all this, would, I don't know. You tell me. I
fight it to the T. So, according to Chicago Tribune, the attorney for Jussie Smollett said yes, that they reached a decision at $10,000. Listen to this part of the article. Just listen to this part of the article. There had been no clue that prosecutors planned the about face before the announcement.
Interesting.
In fact, there likely would have been 0 reporters in the courtroom had it not been for a publicist for Smollett's attorney alerting the media.
And why would they do that?
Well,
you want everybody to know of your innocence.
Okay. Yesterday, Attorney Bill Barr dropped the nuke on the Russia.
It was Sunday, but yesterday he did it Sunday that it drove the narrative for the week.
Right. So all day Monday, media heads blowing up, people exploding, everybody in MAGA country having a good old time. People,
they partied all Sunday night,
yes.
And then it exploded and got even bigger throughout the course of Monday.
So Hillary Clinton called Barack Obama.
Uh-oh.
And they had a little sit. Well, we know for an absolute fact on Saturday, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Adam Schiff, and a handful of other Democrats, they called an emergency phone call meeting.
Okay.
And in the meeting, they discussed what the next step was for them to do. And their next step was to demand public view of the Mueller report. No, we will not look at it behind closed doors. We won't even look at you. All we want is the Mueller report. We want to see it. And we want to see it in public as you present it to us in public, which is not possible.
Well, it's possible. It's possible. Somebody pointed out
they want it unredacted. They want innocent names exposed.
So let me give you a little bit of a background, and I did a little bit of research on this, so you guys can do more due diligence on your own if you want. I encourage it. Somebody pointed out, hey, it's not impossible and it's not even unprecedented, even though you're supposed to keep this stuff secret for the protection of the grand jury and their procedures and the way that they do all this stuff, and also for the citizens involved. You want to keep this secret, and therefore, somebody said, no. Independent counsel Ken Starr had a report that included a grand jury. Okay. When it was voted by Congress to release the full report, it was fully available to the public through the brand spanking new internet. And it's been said by Frank Luntz that it was the most viewed document in all of internet history. At one point, 20 million people are all trying to access a single document on the internet. And I don't know what the difference is between an independent counsel or a special counsel, or if a special counsel is also an independent counsel. But it was called Independent Counsel Ken Starr. It was independent of the rest of the executive branch so that they can do an independent investigation of what was going on with Clinton, not just with Monica Lewinsky. This is another thing that a lot of people don't remember about it. I actually didn't remember until I was doing this research, that he had been doing an investigation on the Clintons and all their Whitewater scandal,
all the scandals,
long before Monica Lewinsky came along. And it was later, years into the investigation, that Linda Tripp showed up to Ken Starr.
Actually saved Monica from she believed that Monica was close to death, but we're kind of getting off.
My point is, I didn't want. This is my main point. My main point is that Congress can vote to release the entire thing. My argument, I'm not trying to say that we should not release it. There's lots of people that are saying, Gary, what are you trying to hide? Or Trump, what are you trying to hide? Republicans, what are you trying to hide? We're just pointing out that it would be a crime in general. Not that it's impossible or that it would definitely be a crime. It's just that it can be a crime per the law to release information that the grand jury puts together.
Okay. Well, the Republicans, it has been put up, and the Republicans have thrown cold water on it and have shot it down. Okay. So it's been voted on already, and they're not letting it go. They're not releasing it. That being said,
I'm okay with it being released.
Okay. I'm cool. It doesn't matter. It's just going to hurt them in the long run, anyways.
Right.
Back to Hillary Clinton.
Well, the Clintons in general. You would get back to Ken Starr.
So the Democrats had a meeting over the weekend, and they're trying to decide their narrative and how to navigate these murky waters, if you will. And my opinion is Hillary Clinton got on the phone with Barack Obama and said, Obama, we got to do something. Bill Barr is about ready to drop this thing and expose us all. How do we erase this? And Obama says,
get all your think tanks on it. Because apparently it didn't work for the first 48 hours.
You remember my buddy Jussie Smollett? Let me call Rahm Emanuel.
I honestly feel like Let
me call the mayor of Chi-Town and see if there's a possibility.
I think that it was a Hail Mary.
Yes!
They were like, I feel like there was full on panic. And somebody pounded their fist on the table and said, somebody do something! I truly believe that because this is crazy. This Smollett thing is nuts. When's the last time you've heard of such a thing where somebody has so blatantly conducted themselves in felonious manner where there's so much evidence against somebody? It's just a foregone conclusion that they did it. And not only that, but it was so hastily put together that Smollett's out there acting grateful. He should be demanding his $10,000 back. He should be demanding back pay from Chicago for whatever community service that he performed. I think that was even misstated. It was made to sound like he was sentenced to community service and he was serving out some sort of a sentence, when in reality what they were talking about was that as a public figure in Chicago, he does community service. And I think every single famous person, every professional athlete, every actor, actress that lives in whatever city in the United States does stuff for the city. That's just part of the job. That's part of PR. If you have a PR firm, they're going to tell you to do it. So he's out there doing that stuff and claiming that somehow that he should be allowed to commit felonies in a city because he had previously done community service.
Right. And this tweeted out at Charlie DeMar. He's a reporter at CBS Chicago. A statement from Cook County State's Attorney's Office. So this is the official statement from Cook County attorneys after reviewing all the facts and circumstances of the case, including Mr. Smollett's volunteer service in the community and agreement to forfeit his bond to the city of Chicago. We believe this outcome is a just disposition and appropriate resolution to this case. Close.
For felonies that included false statements to the police department that caused them to do what I would guess to be millions of dollars worth of investigation into a crime that was a hoax. Who gets off on this kind of stuff?
And why don't they report? Well, okay, so he sues to get his money back because he's innocent. And the police need to hire somebody like O.J. Simpson. Go find the criminals.
Oh, yeah, we need to find them. Well, now, okay, so breaking news.
Breaking news.
New breaking news. Now they're reverting back to the brothers actually being the guilty party here.
The brothers are guilty. They need to be arrested and taken in.
Which is probably
charged.
why they're going to very, very quietly and quickly help them out of the country.
So you go back to where they came from.
Yeah, somewhere. Was it somewhere?
They got mad and said, "We're American."
They were born in Chicago.
Right.
Why does everybody keep calling? Where are they from again?
Nigeria.
Oh, that's right. Because we were making fun of the fact that Nigeria is always doing scams.
Right. They're coming back. Nigeria's making a comeback with a new scam.
For those of you that are young, millennials probably don't know this, but back in the late 90s, there was this, I don't know.
Email scam. Email scam.
It was an email scam where you would get an email from a Nigerian prince who's on the run and trying to launder his money, and they want to enlist you to help them launder their money.
Just give us your bank account.
It's such an obvious scam. They said, we need your bank account so we could wire. If you let us wire $50 billion to your account, we'll let you keep 50 million of it. Something crazy like that. And of course you're like, oh, it's like winning the lottery. And so people fell for this and gave away their bank account numbers.
Nigeria. All the scams.
And I actually originally thought that the fact that they may be Nigerian was fake too, but there was a huge expose on like 60 Minutes or 48 Hours or something like that, where they actually tracked this down to a cubicle farm in Nigeria. These actually were Nigerians doing this, but
so moments after this, by the still the ChicagoTribune.com, moments after Stephen Watkins allowed the dismissal, because the judge could say, no.
That's true.
I've looked at the evidence here. I'm not going to allow this.
We're going through this. We're going through.
So you've got the prosecuting attorney requesting a dismissal.
Yeah.
You've got the judge granting and agreeing, all right, yeah, we'll dismiss this. That's cool.
This is so
Who's
corrupt.
getting paid? This all goes back to the Democrats.
All right.
Rahm Emanuel and Obama.
Okay. Well, before we go on, okay, we'll go ahead and do this.
Yeah. Attorney Smollett issued a statement. Here's the statement from today. All criminal charges against Jussie Smollett were dropped, and his record has been wiped clean of filing this tragic complaint against him. Jussie was attacked by two people he was unable to identify on January 29th. He was a victim who was vilified and made to appear as a perpetrator as a result of false and inappropriate remarks made to the public, causing an inappropriate rush to judgment. Chicago Police Department, you all are racist.
Racist. You guys are racist. You rush to judgment. You have poor judgment. This is what the government of Chicago is labeling you. So you are the fall guy for basically an operation. Some people are like, wait, Carrie, what are you talking about? Okay. So back to the thought experiments. How could this possibly happen? How could this be thrown away and his record be wiped clean? This may have been an operation where Jussie Smollett's not the mastermind.
No. Just like Ocasio-Cortez, she's not the mastermind, and Talib Omar, they are not masterminds.
So I'm going to counter your theory. Your theory is that Clinton and Obama got on the phone and frantically said, "Oh my gosh, how do we address this William Barr Attorney General report summary of the Mueller investigation?"
I'm wrong. That didn't happen. Go with what you're about ready to say. Hillary Clinton did not call Obama. The Democrats did not. Yeah.
Okay. So hold that thought, because my theory is now, based on everything that I'm seeing, I'm not just coming up out of thin air. I'm looking at the little pieces of information we get. We connect the dots, do a little thought experiment to try to figure out if it makes more sense than what we're being told. I am now believing that Jussie Smollett didn't just wake up one day and say, you know what? I'm going to do something about these Trump people, and I'm going to make them look bad. I'm going to call my two brother friends up and tell them to come and beat me up and go buy a noose and all this. I think that he was just a player in a bigger scandal, a bigger operation. I think he was called and asked to do this. I think that he was asked or ordered to do this by big players in the Democrat Party. And I think that it involves the Chicago leadership in the Democrat Party that's running all this. I think that the Chicago Police Department and the Chicago Police's union was not made aware of this, which is why they are raising all kinds of flags right now. So,
ask Macaulay Culkin, ask Shia LaBeouf,
yeah,
ask some of the actors. What was his name? Stand By Me. The Corey, the two Coreys.
Oh, the Coreys, yeah.
Well, ask the one Corey that's still alive.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Ask these actors about what happens in Hollywood. If you don't pay the piper,
yeah.
If you don't do what they say to do, all these actors in Hollywood are all puppets on strings. And when people say, "Oh, Brian, you were in Hollywood,"
I didn't believe it.
You couldn't make it in Hollywood, Brian. Oh, you just know the statistic that just dropped. No, that's not me. I couldn't do, nor would I do. I couldn't be that guy.
That says,
that
okay,
person.
I'll do it.
I'll do whatever. And I'm not saying anything sexual. I'm saying just in general, my personality is the type of personality that you're a drill,
you want an input. Right. You want to give input,
right? And unless you're a drill instructor in basic training, it's difficult for me to take like I was asked to do something in a film, and it looked really stupid.
Okay, mm-hmm.
But it was because it made the character look really stupid.
But didn't they want the character to look stupid?
That was okay.
So what was wrong with that?
I had a extremely difficult time doing it.
But if the script calls for the character to look stupid,
that's why I'm no good.
Oh,
I'm no good for Hollywood. Now, if I write my own script, well, then there we go. But anyways, so Shia LaBeouf, I am not famous anymore. Wanting out the bag over the big bag over the head.
Yeah,
wanting out. I'm agreeing with you 100%. Jussie Smollett is part of a small little pea in this big giant pot.
And he's a rising star, so he may have been selected to perform this false flag because of the kind of attention it would get. Sadly, or interestingly, I never heard of the guy at all.
I had no idea who it was. Yeah.
Because apparently Empire is something that Trump supporters don't watch. However, that does not make it any less popular. It's just we're all more living in bubbles than we ever have in the past because of these different niche things that we can get involved in through the internet. And you can actually insulate yourself from things like, hey, Empire's a really famous show. You know, back in the day, they said that the Tonight Show back in the 60s and 70s and 80s had like a 1/3 market share. Like 1/3 of every single human being was watching the Tonight Show or something like that. And today that's unheard of because there's so many different options that you'd be lucky if you get like 3 or 4% of the entire market share. So that being said, as famous as Empire apparently must have been getting, people like us who are Trump supporters don't watch it. In fact, the police department in Chicago, their first reason to think this was a hoax is that why would a Trump supporter be watching Empire? So they figured they wouldn't know him, which makes sense because I don't even know him.
I don't know him either.
So there you go.
This also by the Washington Times, the article that I looked at from the Washington Times, that the prosecutors dropped all charges. Again, at the Washington Times, while I was reading the article, this was a suggested article that was in relation to Tulane students charged with setting conservatives' dorm room on fire.
Interesting.
It's a sad day. The trio is accused of setting fire to the dorm room door of a 20-year-old Peyton Lofton, who's a member of the Young Americans for Liberty. Mr. Lofton said he believes he was targeted for his political beliefs after his personal information was recently published online.
AKA doxing.
He was a nefarious practice called doxing.
There you go.
So that's okay but that's not okay, but Smollett's okay.
The story that you just read there makes it sound like a liberal, somebody who doesn't like conservatives, who doesn't like Trump, was the actual perpetrator. So
three of them, and they're all three charged. Now, do they get let off the hook?
They may. But isn't Tulane in Louisiana?
Yeah, so they'll probably get hammered.
You have to do it in a place. This could only happen in either Chicago, Berkeley, or San Jose. Those are the only three places this stuff could get pulled off. By the way, just a reminder, San Jose was where those riots occurred.
Oh, yeah.
Tim Pool was there on the ground videotaping it, and he pointed his cameras at cops who were totally within eye shot, maybe even closer, to actual rioting, assaults being taken place. And the question asked of them for their complete inaction was, were you ordered to stand down? I've never heard of a cop witnessing a crime, just standing there, not doing anything about it without being specifically ordered to do that. And so you got Chicago, San Jose, Berkeley, which is where they allow rioting to happen whenever a conservative is slated to speak there.
Right.
There's also the protests that happened there. I think Berkeley may have been where the based stick man was defending himself, ends up getting in big trouble for whacking somebody with a stick. So that kind of stuff, is going to happen in places where liberals have full control of the government, because the people at the very top can order the cops, the prosecutors, attorney generals, or whatever, to say, hey, we're not, we are creating a two-tier justice system here. And as a part of that two-tier justice system, Jussie Smollett is absolutely not going to be charged. You're going to drop all those charges. Anybody who does any kind of assaults of any kind that furthers the narrative that Trump or Trump supporters are bad and that liberals are the righteous good people, that's how we're going to charge here.
In the grand scheme of things, too, I don't want to be too negative about this, but this fits their narrative in the sense that we've got to get these Trump supporters to start physically fighting back. How enraged can we make them? Because can't find stories of them being enraged. We're trying to desperately, and we need stories of them enraged, fighting back. Actually, even if it's in good faith, fighting back.
Yeah, like base stick man or whatever.
Either base stick man or the white Hispanic down in Florida.
Well, yeah, and that was just that guy. George Zimmerman, ended up getting off because it was determined that he was just standing his ground.
Right, but it was against a black kid that if Obama had a son would look like him.
Trayvon Martin.
But I'm just saying that they labeled him a white Hispanic. Hispanics in Southern California were enraged that they would ever be called, because nobody calls a Hispanic white Hispanic.
Right. They're just trying to fit the narrative.
Right. And if you're a light-skinned Hispanic, they will call you a Blanquito, a Blanca. Well, my sister-in-law's name is Blanca. But the point is, they will call you white. They won't call you white Hispanic. They will call you white. And in the black community, they call you light-skinned. They don't call you light-skinned African-American. Just, oh, yeah, the brother, he's light-skinned.
Okay.
So I digress. It's a part of their narrative. They want to get conservatives to fight back, because if they can put that on display, then they can really spin this. Yeah. Look how angry these white people are. They're fighting back. They're Trump supporters. They're violent. They can't fight it. So my advice, I'm just telling everybody, please keep a level head. This is not worth getting your panties in a bunch. It is what it is. We need to elect officials that do things differently. That's the whole point. We fight back at the ballot box, knock on doors. We got 2020 around the corner. Some of the local elections, 2019, right around the corner. Folks, we vote at the ballot box. You've got to be plugged in locally, and you've got to be plugged in nationally. Here on Smith Radio, we will help you be plugged in nationally with national elections, different congresspersons or political officials that are running for office will expose who they are and will tell you who they are. And I don't care if they're Republican or not. I mean, if they're dirty dog Republican flakes, Jeff Flake, we will absolutely expose who you are and just run the gambit. So with that being said,
the main takeaway from this is that the timing is probably the biggest story from our standpoint, right. Is that this is very revealing to the fact that they have desperately thrown this out there. They've moved it up. We don't even know if they were planning on dropping all charges eventually or not. They may have decided, well, let's figure out how to drop these charges against a guy who's helped perform our false flag for us. We commissioned him to do this. He got caught by the police because somebody didn't grease the palms of the police well enough or didn't do it at all. They're kind of caught off guard here. So we need to make this right for Jussie because that's our guy that we hired to do this. But when they were deciding to figure out how to make this right for him, could have been at any time to pick 11:29 on a Tuesday morning,
just before Rush Limbaugh's show, knowing that Rush Limbaugh garners millions of conservative Trump supporting listeners.
Right. They would have done this yesterday if they could have done it then. I think that it took this much time. They basically fast-tracked the entire thing in order to interrupt a massively horrendous and damaging
it took them
timeline.
It took them all day Monday. The prosecutors, the judge, the docket, the juggling around of everything. It took them an entire day to schedule this at 11:29 on Tuesday.
But this is a response to the Mueller report.
Yes.
Period.
Yeah, because
that's the big takeaway, that this is the Democrats' response to the Mueller report.
Because we're on day 2, victory lap day 2.
They need to stop the victory lap.
Yeah, we're
I'm telling you. I mean, this sounds cynical, people, but come on, do the math. Why would they do this on a Tuesday at 11:30? If they could have done it Monday at 11:30, they would have.
And even if this was scheduled already, even if this was on the docket, which
it's hard to believe.
It's hard to believe. The prosecutors, they still have until April.
Yes.
They have until April. This is just preliminary stuff.
Right. They could have dropped this at any time up until his actual hearing in April.
Right. So day 2 victory lap, Washington Times, the Trump campaign has sent a blacklist memo to TV networks warning them away from Democrats who are lying to the American people about false claims of collusion with Russia. The memo, titled Credibility of Certain Guests, urges TV producers to not do business with Democrats such as Adam Schiff, Gerald Nadler, Eric Swalwell, CIA Director John Brennan, Richard Blumenthal, and Blumenthal of Connecticut, and Democrat National Committee Chair Tom Perez.
I love that letter. It was it sounds like something I would write, and I'm not, part of the administration or anything like that. So definitely just a concerned citizen, it looked like, could have written that. And I applaud that. It's basically just it's almost like, hey, it reads like an olive branch. Like, hey guys, just trying to help you out here. No more fake news stuff. I don't want to see you guys drag your own name through your mud. So just to help you out,
just to let you know,
just helping you out.
Yep.
There's a list of people that I think you should really think twice about having on your show anymore. These are senators and representatives and CIA directors. So they pushed a conspiracy theory, and it was false. And they did it knowingly. That's another thing. I wasn't on the show yesterday with the Victory Lap show, but everybody knew that this was fake.
Right. And we discussed this yesterday before I did the show. Mm-hmm. And my sentiments were exactly the same as yours. How did you feel when you saw people doing keg parties and dancing in the streets and stuff?
I didn't like it. Well, Rush Limbaugh, he put it this way, if you want to get very specific about what he thought was wrong. He thought it legitimized the entire process when we knew from the get-go that the Mueller investigation was a fraud from the start, because they had to have known. Did we not know that the dossier was fake? Well, let's find out. Turns out on December 11th, there was a tweet from a semi-famous blue-checked journalist saying, raise your hand if you were also shopped this dossier.
Right.
And if you look at all the comments on that, it turns out that every single mainstream media outlet, both in print and on TV, were begged to run with this dossier. And all of them said, I just read that dossier and it looks so fake. Come on.
Not only that, but I got to feed my children and my wife, and I can't. This would ruin. See, in print, your name and your reputation is your money.
Well, that's the way it historically was thought to be.
Well, when I see like Ryan Saavedra post up a tweet, I know for an absolute fact, right off the bat, very, very credible.
Sure.
So then I'll read it and I'll get into it. If I see something put up by baby Brian Stelter, I know for a fact
it's propaganda.
It's total propaganda. So when I go in to read it, I can realize, prep myself, get ready for what's going to happen. I got to get my thinking cap on. Okay, he said this. Well, I know that's an absolute falsehood because this is true. So
you know how I go into it I know who these people are, and even if I don't know who they are, if I suspect that they are from a publication that's propaganda, I go into reading those things like immediately without even starting the first word. I'm like, okay, let's find the lies.
Right.
Let's find them. Right. It's like a scavenger hunt for me.
Yes, it is.
So anyway.
Absolutely. So we're really excited about some things going on, folks. And I know, don't get too upset. I know Donald Trump said that Mueller did his job well. He's a good man. I know some things are going, folks, pump the brakes.
He just has to do what he has to do.
He's got to do the proper PC, not a cleanup. You know, but he's the one. Like, I was in a situation years ago, and I know you heard the story, so I'll make it real quick. I was in a courtroom and I was being accused, and I stayed there all day, and I saw all the witnesses, and I heard all the testimony, all my friends, all the people that were against me, and then at the end of the day, I took the stand and I sewed my friends' stories together all the way through, so it made sense.
It made sense, okay.
No lies, but I sewed it together so it made sense, and then I exposed the people that were coming after me. I said, see, look. His dad said this and he said that. They both contradicted each other. I just had to expose this. Okay. So what Donald Trump has to do now, the jury is the independents that will likely vote for him. The jury is the Democrats who are absolutely incensed with the Democrat Party and could possibly vote for Trump. So Trump is weaving this together to create the proper picture.
Okay.
So pump the brakes. Nobody's going after Mueller.
And in wrestling, I used to be.
And Rosenstein. That was a big one that nobody's talking about.
Yeah.
There was an article written about Rosenstein in Washington Times that Rosenstein sat in the room with Barr all day.
Yeah.
Making this right. And the superstar that the Republicans hated.
And then remember, in the actual summary, William Barr states in the summary that Rosenstein agreed with him when they came up with their conclusion that Donald Trump did not obstruct justice. You can read that right through. He didn't just say, I, as Attorney General, have determined that he is innocent of obstruction of justice. He pointed out that Rosenstein agreed with him. That is so important.
And Rosenstein is the dirty dog that he is. I am not letting him off the hook. He is absolutely pure evil and all the things that he has done in the past. Bob Mueller, all the scandalous things that he has been involved with in the past as well. None of these people are clean by no means. However, Donald Trump, and a lot of people out there in America don't know what we know. A fraction of the people in America know what we know. I'm not saying we, you, folks that listen to our show, and us that give you that information because we dig for it. Most people don't know this stuff. Trump knows that, and he knows he needs to weave this correctly so that it makes not a lie. I'm not saying a lie. I'm not saying it's some facade. It's got to make sense to those independents that are misinformed.
Right.
Does that make sense?
I think so. I mean, I was going to say I was a referee in wrestling and a coach for many, many, many years. And so we had to know the rule book backwards and forwards. And at the end of every single match, you have to come to the center and shake your opponent's hand before the referee raises the hand of the winner. And in the rule book, it says in there that you must follow the proper end of match procedure. So if you decide I'm not shaking his hand, that would be an actual penalty point against your team if you do that. And I feel like what Trump is doing here by saying thank you for your hard work or whatever to Mueller, who's obviously an extremely evil criminal as far as I'm concerned, what he has done to America with his power is an absolute crime without a doubt. But Trump is just doing proper or I should say, advisable end of match procedure, basically.
Right, because going after Mueller for destroying General Flynn's life,
I think it's coming.
For destroying Cohen's life, for destroying, well, maybe not Cohen. Cohen can have his life destroyed. But I'm just saying.
He's going to jail. He's done.
Carter Page and George Papadopoulos and General Flynn. Those three I'm going to focus on. Those three were completely exonerated. I know Manafort was exonerated, but he's got other dealings and he's going to jail.
But officially they have not been yet.
Right. So my whole point is that because that happened, Donald Trump falling on the sword and going after Mueller and hate for Mueller and all this anger and vitriol, which is well-deserved, you got to know what sword to fall on. And just like Scott Presler said, I am playing very, very, very nice on Twitter.
Okay.
I am being very proper and PC, politically correct at all times because I can reach more Trump supporters. I can reach more Americans by not falling on that sword.
Okay.
And I'm not saying that Laura Loomer fell on the sword on purpose or by accident.
Everybody has their lane to drive in, and we need somebody that's like. I mean, this is a compliment. We need somebody crazy enough to do the things that Laura Loomer does.
Right.
We need that. We need the one that's going to be measured. We need one that's going to go way out there, and we need all that. It's like a spectrum, and so everybody's got their lane. And so, but you're right. The behavior of Laura Loomer publicly causes her to be attacked in a way that Scott Presler does not, because he doesn't do those things. But we do need them all.
Right. And so real quick, Lindsey Graham out there. Oh, my goodness, folks. Keep it at bay. We know who Lindsey Graham could be.
Yeah, don't get fooled. He's very good at fooling people.
He used to be one person, and he seems to be another person. He's got a two-faced kind of situation, but he is a lifelong politician. But as we got this at Benny Johnson, woke, Lindsey Graham drops hammer, calls for new special counsel to investigate.
Yeah.
FBI, DOJ, Hillary Clinton, Andrew McCabe, James Comey, Fusion GPS, James Clapper, John Brennan, fake Trump dossier, FISA warrant process, anyone who wanted to spy on the Trump campaign.
Mr. Mueller to look at that.
Attorney General Barr, and what Attorney General Barr, and what does he say?
Well, what I want to do is see if he'll appoint a special counsel. I fully realize that the oversight role of the committee is legitimate, but we're Republicans, they're Democrats. I'd like to find somebody like a Mr. Mueller that could look into what happened with the FISA warrant, what happened with the counterintelligence investigation. Am I right to be concerned? Seems pretty bad on its face, but somebody like a Mr. Mueller to look at that so that if nobody else, those who believe that the FBI and the Department of Justice were playing politics, that they wanted Clinton to win and Trump to lose, that somebody can satisfy them, that was looked at. There's some people are never going to accept the Mueller report, what I say or what Mr. Barr does. But by any reasonable standard, Mr. Mueller thoroughly investigated the Trump campaign. You cannot say that about the other side of the story. And what I hope Mr. Barr will do is understand, for the country's sake, appoint somebody outside the current system to look into these allegations, somebody we all trust, and let them do what Mr. Mueller did.
You were on the golf course. You were on the golf course yesterday with the president.
Yeah.
Were you there when he got the news?
No, I was at the waiting to get on Air Force One when I got it. He was at.
Love it. I think that's great. That all needs to happen. I like that Lindsey Graham is calling for it. As a matter of fact, that's congressmen. In fact, you should call your congressman.
Call them right now.
Call your senator. They're the ones that have to do the independent investigation on all these people, not Trump. So for Trump to say thank you and blah, blah, blah to Mueller and all those people is actually the only thing he can do, probably the very best course to take. And then behind closed doors with nobody watching, say, Lindsey, you know what you have to do, right? And Lindsey's like, you're damn right. Let's do this. So that's what's happening.
Right. And Lindsey, at Jolly_cat.
Jolly Cat.
JALI _CAT. At Lindsey Graham has a question for you, America. Am I the only one who thinks it's now time to look into all the things 2016, not just Trump?
Wow.
Hashtag We the People demand a special prosecutor to investigate the Obama, FBI, CIA, DOJ, the Justice Department, HCR.
I will introduce a resolution asking you to do a simple thing. Ask somebody outside of politics, a special counsel, to look into how in the world the system got so off track to use a document prepared by a foreign agent, paid for by the Democratic Party, collected in Russia, to obtain a warrant against an American citizen that is garbage to this day. How in the world could the investigation get so off track that the two people in charge of it openly talked about making sure that there was an insurance policy against Trump if he won, and openly espoused support for Clinton? How do you interview Clinton the way she was interviewed? Any American out there who did what Secretary Clinton did, you'd be in jail now. The question I want to know is, does anybody other than me believe that? I don't ask you to believe me. We let Mueller look at all things Trump related to collusion and otherwise. Somebody needs to look at what happened on the other side and find out if the FBI and the DOJ had two systems, one supporting the person they wanted to win and one out to get the person they wanted to lose. Some of these people have been fired for lying, and it's now time to have a special counsel look in all things 2016, not just Trump. Thank you very much.
Lindsey Graham's asking some good questions, and he's in power.
Well, we've been doing this show since 2014, and we were screaming into these mics about the illegalities and the abuse of power of the Obama administration using the departments of the federal government to go after people politically, to gain political advantage and to punish those who are political enemies. The IRS scandal. You know, that right there is 100% impeachable. And people are like, well, yeah, but he's out of office now. But it took a lot of people to do that. And a portion of those people are probably still employed by the federal government. They're there and they committed abuse of power. We've got to find out who these people are. And even if they no longer work for the government, they should be gone after anyway as a deterrent for future power abusers.
Yeah, not that you can abuse power and so you quit your job and now your hands are off. I'm good to go. No problem.
Well, my boss is no longer president, so I'm good. I'm good to go.
No, not anymore. And at Gates Robin, Trump, total and complete exoneration. This was an illegal takedown that failed, and hopefully somebody is going to be looking at the other side. Arrest the FBI, CIA, Dems. Yeah. Hillary for criminal conspiracy. Stop socialism. A great tweet. Thank you, Gates Robin. Phenomenal. And then Donald Trump Jr. getting in on the action. Everybody getting in on the action. It's time to hold the conspiracy caucus
Well, conspiracy caucus. I love that.
In Congress, accountable. These Democrat truthers spent the last 2 years knowingly lying to the American people about collusion. They've disgraced their offices and should step down. Hashtag collusion truthers.
I like the conspiracy caucus better. He should have hashtagged that. Oh, that's awesome. Conspiracy caucus. Okay. So interesting here. He points out that they 2 years knowingly lied to the American people. What they tried to do, and they realized it's not working. It's failing. We need to pull the ripcord on this.
Right.
Eject, eject, eject. And that is that they decided we're going to make this true through gaslighting of the American people. And you can't forget that, which is why you got to be upset. You've been gaslit if you feel the need to celebrate this. Like, yay, Donald Trump wins, MAGA wins, we Trump supporters, we won. No, you should be angry that this ever even took place. You shouldn't be celebrating. You should be totally pissed off. And why? Why are you happy? Why are you celebrating? Because you've been gaslit, people. You've been gaslit. You need to, the only way for justice, you know what it is? People think that the decision that Donald Trump did not collude with the Russian government or any Russians or anybody in the administration or even associated. This is what the summary said. The summary said anyone associated with the Trump campaign, innocent of all these charges. They're trying to get you to believe that the decision that everybody's innocent is justice.
And it's not.
Justice has been served.
No.
The justice system worked. We have found everybody innocent of this. Damn it. No. Justice is only served when the people who have committed the crime of a coup d'etat of our president are brought to justice. That is when justice is served. Don't fall for this. This is gaslighting.
No, absolutely. A good friend on Twitter as well. I have to spell his handle because I cannot say it for a family-friendly show. FUCTUP Mike. Listen to John Brennan here. Listen to Joe Scarborough. These people are lost. Did you see the long face of Joe Scarborough and John Brennan?
So sad.
John Brennan is backpedaling. I think he's trying to save himself from going to prison.
Yeah.
We've also got
by the way, I can remember what he said. He said, I think I may have thought too much that he was guilty and just got wrapped up in it.
And I
got to a point where I just really thought he was guilty. People, everybody knew the dossier was fake. Everybody knew that he didn't collude with Russia. For him to say that, gosh, I just really thought, and I was wrong, but I really thought it, and I don't blame other people for really thinking it too. No, you all knew, you're all liars. We reported on December 11th, 2016. Should we have told you should have listened to Smith Radio? I'm talking to you, John Brennan. Should you have listened to two Air Force and Marine Corps veterans that it's fake and here's why? No, you know already.
Right. You were on the inside. You knew it all.
Gosh.
At Beachy Kate 69, MSNBC, Chris Matthews. MSNBC. I do believe it is you who should have shamed Chris Matthews. You lied to your audience for over 2 years.
Yes.
Oh, and the pesky Avenatti thing now hangs over your network.
Yeah. Avenatti's going to jail now for extorting money from Nike and all them. So
let me play. Did you see this one? Let me play this for you. I got to get your take on this. Dude, you're going to lose it. I'm losing it right now thinking about it.
What's it called? Forbidden. Oh, Kate, Beachy Kate 69. I'll look it up real quick. Twitter.com. What is it? Beachy Kate?
Yeah.
BEACHY KATE 69.
69.
Okay. Hillary. How did it go? Mueller madness.
It's a videotape on John Brennan and Chris Matthews. Shame, Chris Matthews. Oh, here it is. I got it.
Did you find it?
And had shame.
Do you
It
wanna
may
make
have
that
not
full
been
screen?
moral shame, but it was
That's
political
I'll put
shame.
it in afterwards.
Okay.
And I think Nixon had shame. It may have not been
Right.
moral
Wow.
shame, but
Right.
it was
That's
political
the
shame.
difference.
He knew he blew it.
Right.
And he knew he got
Everything
wrapped up in
from
this
us.
back and forth, dirty tricks versus dirty tricks, worse than that dirty tricks. He got caught up in that escalation of that dirty politics going back to the 40s with Jerry Voorhees and all the other stuff. And he got caught and he knew it
pause real
and he
quick.
cried and he.
That's not the same tweet that you have on your notes.
Yeah.
It is?
Oh, yeah, because this. Yeah, it's just.
Oh, you took the quote
yeah,
from the show.
from
Okay.
her. Okay.
And I think Nixon had shame. It may have not been
Right.
moral
Wow.
shame, but
Right.
it was
That's
political
the
shame.
difference.
He knew he blew it.
Right.
And he knew he got
Everything
wrapped up in
from
this
us.
back and forth, dirty tricks versus dirty tricks, worse than that dirty tricks. He got caught up in that escalation of that dirty politics going back to the 40s with Jerry Voorhees and all the other stuff. And he got caught and he knew it and he cried and he left. Trump doesn't have that faculty.
No, he doesn't have shame and he
faculty.
doesn't have empathy.
So what they're saying here, what Chris Matthews is saying, is that yeah, the Democrats dirty tricks and Donald Trump dirty tricks, just like Nixon. Dirty
They're
tricks
sticking
on
with
both.
that.
Dirty tricks on both sides, but at least Nixon had political shame.
So it's
to
been
walk
a
away.
lot of people don't know this. I actually learned this from a long time ago, way long time ago. I was in a phone conversation with Jack Posobiec, and he made it crystal clear, and I started to see it through the lens of that, but he made it crystal clear that the Democrats and all of Donald Trump's opponents, including Republicans, Democrats, wherever, all of his opponents are trying to recreate the Nixon debacle through Trump. I mean, literally act it out.
Right.
And then that would somehow drum up in the subconscious of the public that he is Nixon and that he is performing the deeds that Nixon did that eventually led to him being impeached. And so that way they can go through with the impeachment proceedings with the public's blessing, basically. And what you're seeing now that Trump has been totally exonerated, which, by the way, he has been totally exonerated.
Yes. Sorry. Yeah.
Don't try to don't think that because the Democrats are pointing out that he has not been exonerated by Mueller, that he has not been exonerated. He's been totally exonerated. But anyway, they're trying to stick with that narrative for some reason. Some are pointing out, I think it was Rush Limbaugh pointed out that this is not over, that they're going to continue to go after him, and they're still impeachment is not off the table. And so they're still trying to go with this. He did do all the things that we said. It's just that Mueller dropped the ball and basically either A, he just couldn't find the smoking gun and he had no choice but to do this. And some are praising Mueller. There are Democrats out there that are saying that somebody needs to investigate Mueller.
Yeah.
The Russians clearly got to him.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
oh my gosh. So that's what Chris Matthews is
This
saying.
by Surabis, Andrew Serbian at GOP leader and Kellyanne polls are right to call for serial liar and fraud Adam Schiff to resign as head of Intel Committee
Oh,
after
sure.
spending 2 years lying to the American people
Yeah.
and promoting the collusion conspiracy. He's lost moral authority to lead.
Yes.
Absolutely.
100%.
This at Paul Sperry _ I'm hearing the reasons the Rosenstein DOJ refused to release his full unredacted August 2017 scope memo and the FBI's July 2016 electronic communication memo of Crossfire Hurricane. That's what started all of this. They won't release any of that information because it's all based on the dossier, which is completely debunked. Fake.
Yeah, they knew it going in. What I don't understand, here's a big question that I've been asking here on Smith TV for probably over a year now, is what judge in the FISA court, what FISA court judge gave them the right to spy on American citizens based on the dossier?
rumor has it that one of the judges didn't want to be seen in court and actually told one of the FBI agents to come to his house.
Yeah, but if it was either A, the FBI just flat out lied to the FISA court judge, or B, the FISA court judge is totally clueless. No, I mean,
clueless.
Like, if they received the dossier and they didn't know what everybody else on earth knew, which was that this thing is completely unreliable, unsubstantiated, uncorroborated, like that people believe that it was totally made up, it's possible that particular judge could say, "Ooh, wow, you got this is from the FBI, and you're saying it's got the sign off of Senator John McCain? All right, let me sign this. Go ahead and spy on him. See if you can find some evidence that supports this." I mean, either A, totally clueless, or like you said, totally compromised. He's part of the coup d'etat.
And this at Smith Radio, this is your tweet, Carrie. Our standard is the ends justify the means, and in this case, the end is to reverse the 2016 election at the Democrats if they were to ever be honest. And the video clip
that was a fake quote that I made up that the Democrats would say if they were ever honest. So our standards is the ends justifies the means. So I wish I had the tweet that I was responding to. I was responding to a specific tweet. Let's see if it'll open up for us. Oh, it's
Ryan Saavedra.
So Ryan,
he was tweeting out, and you can see this video clip of
Eric Swalwell. Oh my gosh! So I was making a fake quote up of Eric Swalwell. So Eric Swalwell on why Democrats are continuing their investigations into Trump after Mueller investigation. Quote, "Our standard is different than proof beyond reasonable doubt." That's obviously important because that is our standard. And why is his standard different? So I answered it for him by making up the quote if he were to ever be honest, and that is, our standard is the ends justifies the means. And in this case, the end is to reverse the 2016
And he
election.
may be playing on criminal versus civil law.
And you're being devil's advocate big time here. Wow.
Well, it's like
throw him a bone.
I keep thinking about OJ, poor OJ.
Oh.
You know, OJ was found not criminally liable for killing his wife.
Innocent. Or I should say not guilty.
For when he killed his wife and her lover, he not guilty. But in civil court,
he was found liable for their death.
Right. So maybe he's trying to twist the. I don't know.
So I guess he's trying to say, maybe I was more accurate than I thought. He might be saying, hey, listen, we're not talking about criminal matters here. We're just talking about convincing the American people that we need to impeach the president because impeachment's not a criminal proceeding. It is a political activity.
Right. Yes, absolutely. And at Go, the number 4, BAS. Good morning, #Patriots. GOP leader just ruined everything the Democrats had on the block today. Resolution to release Mueller's report blocked. Will not happen. I love my freedom at Jack Murphy. Follow at Jack Murphy. That's his website. ILoveMyFreedom.com. Great reporter. There's a lot of great articles posted up there as well. And then just to round up the show with some really, really great news, folks. #Build the wall. Build the wall.
Okay.
Congress. Go to hell.
Okay.
Don Jr. tweets out, Christmas came early, to an article that at Real Saavedra tweeted out, breaking news. The Pentagon just notified Congress, go to hell, that it has authorized the transfer of $1 billion to begin new wall construction along the U.S.-Mexico border.
I like it. And, we've always said that this is powers that the president, the executive branch has. And so they're just exercising it. There's nothing illegal. There's not anything extra constitutional about it. The law exists that allows the president to do this, the Pentagon to do this with the president's blessing. Obviously, President Trump wants to build a wall. He's been saying that for a long time. And now he's just going to do it in the way that he can and is allowed to do. And Congress cannot stop him for the most part.
Nope, not at all. So the Pentagon's going to give the money to the Army Corps of Engineers. They're going to build the wall.
Right.
$1 billion is a pretty good start. I'm excited about that. And this article out of Axios, folks, if yesterday couldn't have been a better day, I'm speechless about how great of a day yesterday was. It needs to go down in American history.
It should be this whole week, minus the Jussie Smollett. Oh, crap.
Right.
Anyway.
Justice Department now says courts should strike the entire Obamacare down, remove, gut all of Obamacare.
So this is an article by Axios.
Yep, it's a great article, and it just real quick. It says how it works. Federal judge ruled in December that ACA, individual mandate, has become unconstitutional because of the way Donald Trump, they say Republicans, but because of the way Donald Trump zeroed out the penalty, not the Republicans. That would be referring to Paul Ryan. No, he screwed it all up. It took Donald Trump to say there is no penalty.
Right.
Done.
And by the way, just a recap on the ACA when it comes to individual mandate is that it became a requirement to be a citizen in good standing in the United States, which just reeks of unconstitutionality.
Right. No, absolutely. It gets into what the judges have said and what the attorneys have said and how they've argued it, and that the entire Obamacare pivots on the mandate. If there is no mandate, then nobody has to do it. And it becomes unconstitutional.
Right.
What's next? The case is pending before the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. Oh, my goodness. What is that? And the very next line. The most conservative appeals court in the country.
Oh.
From where it would go to the Supreme Court, which my Donald Trump packing the house.
Yeah, and he should. I mean, I think that that's going to be what really, truly, that's the only thing I can think of that's going to make the Trump administration, the Trump presidency last for many, many years is that he just had
generational.
I mean, it's just totally fortunate that the ages of the current sitting justices just happens to coincide with the Donald Trump presidency and them almost even either needing to retire or just possibly even dying in office because of their age. Obviously, we don't hope for that, but this could have happened to any president. Hell, Hillary Clinton could have won and it would be her, but it's Donald Trump. And I'll tell you what, it's going to make America great again to have justices either upholding or striking down laws that are socialist in nature, that are unconstitutional, that are just not good for America. So it's great.
No, absolutely. Folks, again, you're watching New Right Network tonight. Your host, Brian Smith and
Kerry Smith,
giving you all the breaking news of the day, wrapping it up, making sense of it all, exposing the fake news media that's out there. We've got a lot of great new America First writers that are out there that we will be showcasing on the show.
Cool.
We're meeting up with a bunch of other young organizations that have started their run in writing, and now they're coming under the umbrella of New Right Network. Follow us on Twitter, on Facebook, everywhere around social media. Share this with your friends and your family. And if you like what you hear and you've been blessed, jump over to smith.tv, buy something, get involved. Go to patreon.com/ I think it's still Smith Radio. But anyways, there's a link there.
It is. Yeah.
You can get a piece of that. And if you want to listen to the audio version of this, it's iHeartRadio, iHeartRadio.smithradio.com. We're there as well. With that being said, what an incredible Tuesday, an incredible Monday through Friday, 5 to 7 8 p.m. Eastern time. See you on Wednesday for Wednesday Wisdom.
Absolutely. See you guys.
You've been listening to New Right Network, mobilizing, countering, energizing. Online at newrightnetwork.com.